Texas, and I'm also here on behalf of Concerned Women for America of Texas. I am here to testify in favor of House Bill 562. First and foremost, I'd like to point out, as a practicing attorney who also does appellate work, that the laws just aren't that clear. We can go in Travis County, people will say you can go from one courtroom to the next, let alone from one county to the next, even within our own state. So I agree with those who've come before me that says anything that we can do to help a judge know exactly what they're supposed to do is not a waste of time. And I think that becomes more important when we look at the number of pro se litigants that are coming into our family law courts. They're being encouraged even with pro se forms and that type of support. And judges who practice, who maybe have a general court and are not just family law judges, they rely on the attorneys to inform them of non-common areas of the law and what that law is. And pro se litigants simply aren't able to do that either for or even to help themselves in these situations. Secondly, as I read this law, what this does is put foreign law in the same category as domestic law. You can't pass a law and hope for it to be effective if it's against the Constitution. So if Texas can't pass one of its own laws in violation of our state constitution or our federal constitution, and a judge can't enforce that law because it's void, because it's unconstitutional, how does it make any sense to say that a foreign law would not be held to that same type of standard, so that we have equal application of the law for all the petitioners and respondents who avail themselves of the Texas courts? And so if you come into a Texas court, you have to be treated the same as another member of the society that comes into the Texas court. I am a Christian. I respect the values of other religions and other people to practice religion as they see fit, but I think that this law ignores the fact that for a long time there have been other religions where people have had to address issues in two separate venues. And I speak about the Catholic faith simply because I know more about that than I would others. It is not to diminish any other faith or denomination. But a Catholic can't go to the Vatican, get their marriage annulled at the Vatican, and then come into Texas with their annulment from the Vatican and say, hey, this is what controls from now on in the state of Texas. In the same manner, the Texas court can't grant an annulment, and they sometimes do grant annulments, but it's under the Texas law, and it is not necessarily something that will be represented or recognized by the Vatican. And so, again, this is trying to provide equal laws across what Texas takes jurisdiction over. We also use Christian mediators. People go other places in non-binding situations. But again, when you come into court, you have to be able to prove that what you're asking the court to do is constitutional. I will say that best interest isn't always the standard when it comes to a child when there's a mediated settlement agreement. In fact, in 2013, in Ray Lee, the Texas Supreme Court said only in the circumstances where there's family violence and it's not in the best interest of the child, may a court set aside a mediated settlement agreement. Well, that makes a lot of sense if everybody is going to the mediation voluntarily and on equal footing. But there's no way to know that that's what has happened if it's happened in some other venue. And so I'd ask the court, this committee, to consider that all of these issues are, again, to provide equality and sense in our courts and what happens in our courts here in Texas. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any questions, members? Yeah, Mr. Schofield has a question.
I want to make sure I understood your testimony properly when you were talking about the equality of foreign laws with our laws. Did I hear you to understand? Did I understand you to say that if we pass a statute in Texas, that the court will rule on whether it is constitutional, whether it comports with the Texas Constitution and the U.S. Constitution, and that this bill would essentially make sure that that same standard is applied to foreign laws?
Exactly.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
We have John Wright here on behalf of himself.